I said to you yesterday, we'll go through a structure, ring structure of the surahs. And I want to first explain what I mean by ring structure. And I told you when we read our textbooks, we find that every chapter is organized in what we call a linear, Aristotelian linear fashion. Okay, Aristotle's philosophy was, to think linearly. That is how philosophers think, in a linear way. Okay, 1, 2 leads to 3, 3 leads to the 4. So you have first you have your title. In that title you make a proposition. You put a statement, okay, and then you have an introduction to that statement, okay. Then you get evidence to prove what your proposition was in the heading, all right. Then you do a discussion of that, okay. Once you've done the discussion, you come to a conclusion, don't you? That is how we write chapters, that is how we write books, and that is how we think linearly. You're all familiar with that. That's what our wonderful British education system does in English, Naveed. That's what you get them to do. Good essay writing is all about that. I can still remember, when I was in my, I think it was 8 or 9 year old in primary school, and if I repeated words, I would be told off. Told how to write. In the discussion, in the body of the writing. Do all the, so early on we are taught to think linearly, and alhamdulillah, by the people when they finish their degrees, they can think in that linear Aristotelian way, okay, and analyze things and do. So we're all used to that, and what are we doing in the Quran? We are looking for that linearity, and alas, you don't find it. So you get confused and you say, oh, what is Quran doing, eh? It's just moving from one place to another. What is it doing, eh? Makes no sense. That's, you've never felt like that. You've not read translation, I bet. Like most of us, let's be honest. I'm sorry to be rude, but this is what I know. Muslims just haven't, very few people will have read whole translation, and for a very good reason, Yes, absolutely. Yes, you're right. You're right. So during Ramadan, in one of our Creamier Masjid, during the I'tikaf, about 25 young people decided we would read the whole of Majestic Quran from beginning to end in the last 10 days. Okay, and there was one who was 45-year-old, and he said, Dr. Saab, I've got this pile of translations at home. I've not read any of them, but this one. When they finished it on the 10th day, last day of Ramadan, they called me. So I went and did a dua, and he said, mashallah, we've read the whole of the Majestic Quran from beginning to the end. Not only the translation, but the Arabic. So they would read one page of Arabic, then the translation, and in 10 days of I'tikaf, they finished the whole of the Quran, mashallah. And so, the point is, what I'm saying is, we seldom read translation. I do encourage you, I urge you, in fact, that you must get used to doing that. All right? So what do we mean by ring structure? You understand what the linear structure is? You're all familiar with? Yep. Okay. So what is the ring structure? Well, this is your Aristotelian linear writing method. Next, go. So there's a very learned scholar called Mary Douglas. She's an expert on this thinking circle, an essay on ring composition. She began to talk about ring structure, and other people have actually talked about this in Bible. Books of Bible are ring structure, all right? They're not linear, and in fact some of the other writings by Greek not philosophers, but Greek writers are also in this ring structure, okay? And for me, this corresponds to what Razi and other commentators talk about, how the beginning and the end are linked together. Often, they write, see how the end is as it was at the beginning. Think of it like a circle or a ring, okay? If you've got a ring, just think about a ring there, no? A mirror image, A, B, C, D, and A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime, okay? A prime, B, like a lateral inversion in a mirror, okay? It's just like a lateral inversion, actually. So the books of Bible were like that. Rumi's Masnavis are very good. I read a lot of Masnavi, and particularly the translation by Arbery, and also translation by Javed, an Iranian, very beautiful translation. And you can again tell Rumi's using exactly the ring structure, because have you noticed, he gives you he starts with a story, and then after a few paragraphs he moves off to another story, and then a third one, and then a fourth one, and you say, he hasn't finished the first one, what's he doing? And then he comes at, and then he talks about the first one, and then the second one. But there's a really, it's just like, when you watch dramas, they don't tell you the whole story, do they? What's it called? Suspense, isn't it? So they'll show you and they'll leave it at a very dramatic point, and you're just wondering what is going to happen next. They start another scene, and then comes another. Perhaps later on, after another 4 different scenes, you get the first one, the end of the first one. That's a very like ring structure. Everybody knows Ayat al-Kursi well, don't you? And I've made it a practice in our Quran schools that when children are around, we always read Ayat al-Kursi aloud. Okay? It's a sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Not to read loud, but certainly we read it loud because I want to teach children, okay, just to get them into practice and habit. Being a good teacher, we have to practice all these things. Otherwise, they wouldn't know. Just saying to them, read Ayat al-Kursi is not good. You read it with them loud, okay? So that's why even here, we read it. We want people to learn through practical ways. So we read Ayat al-Kursi, and I hope all of you know this. Let's just look at Ayat al-Kursi. How many parts does Ayat al-Kursi have? Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. La ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Lahu ma fi as-samawati wa ma fi al-ard. Man dha alladhi yashfa'u 'indahu illa bi'idhnihi. Ya'lamu ma bayna aydihim wa ma khalfahum. ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يعوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. How many parts does it have? Hasnain? Oh, you're just copying, aren't you? You're copying. Come on. How many parts does it have? 9, yeah. 9 parts. 9 parts. Just look at it. It's amazing, Okay, so what do we find amazing in it? Can you see this? There is no God but He. Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyum, Al-Ali, Al-Azim. He is the living, the one who sustains and keeps things in existence, and the one who is the highest exalted and the great. Okay? Not tiredness, this is a slumber, drowsiness, or sleep doesn't hold him, or the so drowsiness and sleep doesn't overwhelm him. Okay? And here, وَلَا يَعُودُهُ, okay, حِفْظُهُمَا. It does not overwhelm him from its protection. Okay? What? Sinatun wala nawm. Okay? And then everything in heavens and the earth belongs to him. And his throne of authority extends over heaven and the earth. And this could have been there, couldn't it? Here, Shamrez, lahu ma fi samawati wa ma fil ard, wasi'a kursiyuhu samawati wal ard. Could have been there, couldn't it? Maulana Zubair? It would have made sense. It would have made sense, wouldn't it? It is continuous, okay? Heavens and the earth belong to him, and his throne, or let's very simple, his authority extends over them. He has authority over all of them, Jahannam. Who dare intercede before him, Jahannam, without his permission? And here, وَلَا يُحِيطُونَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنْ عِلْمِهِ إِلَّا بِمَا شَاءَ. They don't know. They don't know anything except what he... In other words, how could they do the intercession? They don't really know. How can they be interceding for somebody and they don't really know the reality of what he is capable or what he deserves? You don't know because they don't know. Do you see that? And then يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُم. He knows what they've achieved and what they have failed to achieve. You know, normally people translate this as literal meaning would be he knows what's in front of them and what's... Abdullah ibn Abbas in his tafsir, Mikyasul Anwar, says, this actually is a metaphor for what they have achieved and what they have failed to do. Did you see that? That's it's used as a, and it's far more meaningful, isn't it? What they've achieved and what they failed to achieve. And that's, I'm giving you an evidence from Abdullah ibn Abbas, so that's why I use that. Although in my second edition, I think we just still have it as he knows what is in front and what's behind them, but it really means Allah knows what they've achieved and what they have failed to achieve. Okay? Okay, next go on to the... Can you see this? Can you see this parallelism between the four and what's in the middle? This one with that, this here, and this is the crown. He knows what they've achieved and what they have. You know, Ayat al-Kursi is really about the Allah's authority, okay, and His knowledge and His greatness. But at the same time, it's about making us aware of our responsibility, because that's at the heart of the Quran is always what have you done, what have you achieved, all right? Wait a minute, just any questions on that? And does everybody see that link, that parallelism? Do you see that now? That even more clear why we call this ring. So the diamond is the central theme, okay? And what did we say here the central theme would be? It's what we do and what we fail to achieve is what the Quran is stressing. Okay, look, you're standing in front of this mighty Lord, the Lord who has authority over the whole of the universe. Eh? What you achieved or what you have failed to achieve? Does that make sense? Okay. And listen, some of you will be wondering, is it exactly, or are we just stretching things? Eh? Don't worry about that. It's, whether this is a right theory or wrong, that's not the point. The point is, it's just helping us to understand and see some link. Are you with me? Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly like that. Our human understanding is weak. Only Allah knows the best. Are you with me? So don't say this is some kind of we're saying that this is the only way of studying the Quran, all right, and surahs. Adalat, are you with me? Yeah. So it's not about, it's an approach that I like, and I've read about it, and I've seen some fantastic examples in my own translation, and we'll just look at Surah Yasin in a while. And yes, see when you look at that structure, you just wonder, the Quran was revealed over the period of 23 years. And Rasulullah ﷺ didn't have laptops and, digital cut and paste facilities in those days. So can you just imagine how this would have been preserved? And this is proof of the divine nature of the book and how Allah says, نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. So you really need to understand that. And the sophisticated ring structure that we just talked about, even in Surah Baqarah, which was revealed over a period of how many years? 9 years. You see an amazing ring structure there, to be honest. Okay, I have that, but I'm not going to. It's really long. It take almost a whole day to actually go through Surah Baqarah. It's amazing, and so it would be very impossible, for Rasulullah ﷺ or the Sahaba then to say, okay, we're going to organize it in this ring structure or in this particular fashion. It just shows you this is a divine book of which Allah took care of presenting us. فَأَعْتَبِرُوا يَا أُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ. The Quran says, just, clever people,